Good insert time of day here. Adventurers! Welcome back to the world of D&D 20. Today's video is going to be my first video past the introduction video. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at a character that I just created for campd&d. Now for those of you that don't know, campd&d is an online D&D platform. So I just made my character. I haven't gotten to play it yet, but what I made was a Hexblade Warlock. I had other plans in mind, but my plan involved multiclassing, and multiclassing isn't a thing on campd&d. Neither are feats, neither is anything from Tasha's Cauldron. They are working on changing this in what they call Season 2, but as it stands right now, it's just single classes from the other source books. So, seeing as I couldn't do what I originally wanted, I decided a Hexblade Warlock would be what I'd make. I'm actually going to be making 2 other characters, which I'll talk about in another video, perhaps even 2, if each one I feel deserves their own. But on to my Hexblade Warlock. My Hexblade Warlock is named Goran Greyheart, and he is a half-elf. He's got the criminal background, and the backstory to him is really quite interesting, and I'll be getting into that here in a second after I go over what he's got. As you can see, for his weapons, I've got 2 daggers. Those are going to be his main attacks as far as melee attacks. For his cantrips, I've got Booming Blade and, of course, Eldritch Blast. As for my actual spells that go beyond cantrip, there's 2 first-level spells to start with, as I am starting at level 1, as does everybody on campd&d. These 2 spells are the Armor of Agathis, which I'll definitely be using to build up some temporary hit points and give me some more durability, since Warlocks are pretty flimsy. And then I've also got the Arms of Hadar, which are going to be great for causing some damage and some control. So I feel like it's really pretty balanced as far as my spells. I've got the Booming Blade, which is can cause damage, but also causes control as far as stopping the enemy from moving if they don't want to be damaged. I got Eldritch Blast, which is my primary attack cantrip. I've got Armor of Agathis, which is support for myself. And then I've got the Arms of Hadar, which cause damage and offer some kind of battlefield control. So now that we've gone over that, we'll look at my character's information, which you'll notice my character would rather make friends than enemies. And he's not very good at following plans. And if you tell him the risks, he doesn't care. Now this is going to make for some very interesting roleplay, as whenever we need to decide what we're doing, my character might go along with it, or he might say he doesn't like that idea and just do his own thing, which can create some very interesting situations, and I'll have to definitely try to balance that with not screwing the party over too much, but I definitely think it'll be an interesting dynamic. As far as the background though, I gave him the criminal background, and the reason this actually ties into him, he's also, you can see, indebted to somebody, and he's working to pay back that benefactor. That benefactor is actually my patron. So the way this is set up is that my character, Goran, is the second son of a prominent merchant. And this merchant is prominent as a merchant, yes, and very influential that way, and to the public eye, he's just a great merchant. However, part of why he is so influential and has so much money is that he works in the seedy underside of transactions. If somebody wants something that's unsavory or illegal, or they want something that nobody's willing to sell, well, my character's father is more than willing to go steal it, smuggle it in, discreetly provide goods, whatever it takes to satisfy his customers. And so he's got 2 sons. His eldest son, my elder brother, Elian, is a pure elf, and he gets to be the one that takes over the merchant side of the business. He'll be the face of the business. He gets all the money, all the fame, everything. I'm a bastard son. I was conceived with a human mortal when my father was out on a trip, to a merchant trip selling goods, and he brought back a bastard son. I'm kind of a blight on his name, but he kept me around because I am perfect for taking over the seedy underside of the business. He has me trained as a criminal. I smuggle in goods, I go to help procure them, and all that good stuff. And this is done so that way his eldest son, his legitimate son, can take over the front side of the business and be completely safe, because if I'm ever busted for doing illegal activities, He can say he knew nothing about it, disown me right then and there. I take the complete fall. So it works out perfect for them. And that creates my criminal background, which, as we all know, the criminal background has some great uses. But anyway, at one point, I was sent to procure a blade with my father's men. The blade began to speak to me, and it spoke true volumes to me, talking about how it wasn't fair that I was the fall guy, that my brother was going to get all of the nice things in life and I was going to have to do all the dirty work and take all the risk. It wasn't fair that I was trapped under my father's thumb, unable to live my own life basically and be enslaved to him and my brother, and it offered me freedom. And at first I was resistant to it, but it won me over when it said that we could be friends. He would grant me the power and freedom that I so desired and deserved, and in exchange, as his friend, I would do a couple of things to repay the favor, just as friends would do. As somebody that likes making friends, because I didn't have that many as a kid, and I don't get that many great interactions outside of thugs and criminals, this spoke a lot to me. I wanted a friend, and so I accepted the blade's offer, and thus I became a warlock. I fled the caravan with the blade. I'm not sure what happened with the blade, what it had me do with it. That's up to the DM's discretion, but that's how I formed my pact. Anyway, I just wanted to share this with you. I think it can be a really interesting dynamic with the way my character's set up. I think it's got some pretty good stats here. You can see I've got my charisma pretty high. All I need is one more charisma point, and I'm at a 18 in charisma, which is going to be super helpful. You can see I've got some pretty good dex to make sure that I'm good on initiative. And I actually plan on using finesse weapons with this character. So having the high dex is definitely going to help. Anyway, thank you for tuning in to this episode of D&D 20. I look forward to seeing you guys next time. Until then, have many adventures.